Blessings, a community of wives. Listen, Coach T want to step in and give you some midweek motivation, Psalms 127:1 says, unless the Lord builds the house, the labor builds in vain. Unless the Lord builds the house, the labor builds in vain. And that Bible verse has stood out to me because God gave me a picture. One of the ladies I was coaching this week, I was trying to explain to her what surrendering looks like, And God gave me this picture. He gave me this picture. He said, imagine standing in front of your home, the home that you may have been living in for many, many years, the home that you have raised your children in, the home where all your prized possessions are in, the home where your bed is in, the home where your comfort is in, the home where your everything that represents you is pretty much in. Imagine stepping outside of the home and walking away. Just say you go into the mailbox or you go into the front of your house and your back is facing your home, and then you turn around and your whole house have completely fell to the ground. The whole house has completely just shattered to the ground and is no longer there. Imagine going outside one way and to check your mailbox, to turn back around, and then you look and see that your home is no longer there. And a lot of times, this is what God is having to do, because so many wives are struggling, are having a hard time surrendering. God is asking you, wives, in this hour to surrender. He's asking you to turn from your way, turn from your will, turn from your wants, turn from what it is that you want, and surrender it to me, A lot of times, wives are struggling with that surrendering. And so God is having to tear down the home himself. He's having to break it down, tear it apart, brick by brick, remove brick from brick, and then rebuilding a home. God is saying so many of my wives are struggling and going back and forth with me because they won't release what I am asking them. They won't release their marriage. They won't release their husband. And so because they won't release them or do it on their own, I am now having to completely shed and shred the foundation. Listen, talk about humility, okay? Talk about humility. And so one of the things I always tell wives, as you're talking about discipline in this discipline series, one of the things I always want to tell wives is that surrendering is not easy. And one of the ways that you could practice surrendering, I'm going to give you a few examples of some of the ways that you can start practicing surrendering. One of the ways that you can practice or begin surrendering is by doing a fast. I always encourage wives to do a fast. Starve the flesh, feed your spirit. Starve the flesh and feed your spirit. This is a good practice. For wives to start taking those necessary steps to surrender. Okay. Another thing that you can do to practice surrendering. One of the things I always try to encourage wives, when you are actually reading the Word of God and you are studying scriptures and you are in His presence, you are spending that time with Him, and He speaks and He tells you to do something. Do it immediately. Don't hesitate. And I always encourage wives, when God speaks and tell you to do something and you do it. When God tells you to do something, one of the things, a good practice for you, the more and more you do it, the more and more you are obedient to His word, the more and more He will speak, and the more and more louder He will get. So I like to encourage wives and tell wives, listen to the word, listen to what God is telling you. Obedience is much better than sacrifice. And so if you are in scriptures and reading the Bible and sitting in God's presence and God is telling you something, it needs to be something as simple as go into that person and say hello. Or go and give that person $5, or turn back around and say this to that person. It could be something as simple as that. The more and the the quicker you do those things, God's voice will begin to get louder in your spirit. God will begin to trust you more and will begin to start giving you more instructions and then allowing you to hear him a little bit clearer. So that is another way. That is another way that you can practice surrendering. You can practice surrendering. And then the third thing is just doing it. It's just doing it, you know. It's just doing it. If God is saying, listen, I need you to give this to me. I need you to give this to me. I need you to release this. I need you to release your husband. I need you to release your marriage. I need you to release that. So many wives are trying to do things in their own strength. So many wives are trying to psych themselves out and make themselves think that they're doing it by faith, but they really aren't really doing it in their own strength. And so what you have to do in that case is begin asking God, Lord, I don't know how to do this. Help me to surrender this to you. Lord, I don't know how to surrender my marriage over to you. I don't know how to surrender my husband over to you. Lord, show me how to do this. So many wives are still trying to do this in their own strength. And what's happening is they're falling short, or they're going backwards, or they're not getting any type of results, because they're trying to do it in their own strength, but they're thinking that they're doing it by faith, but they really are not. You're not able to do this type of thing on your own, in your own strength. You have to ask God for direction. You have to ask God for his leading. You have to ask God to show you the way on this journey. So those are 3 things that wives could begin doing to ask, to begin surrendering, they weigh, what they desire over to God, and allow God's will to take over, and allow God's way. When God is saying, I need you to surrender, I need you to let go, I need you to let me have this, I need you to allow me to do this for you, I need you to allow me to do this for you. I remember before, when my husband and I, when he was actually, of course, back in the home, I shared before plenty of times when me and my husband, he's been separated many times. But one of the things I would tell myself every day, okay, I'm not going to go over there and bother him, or I'm not going to go over there and, look in the room, or I'm not going to go over there and go through his things, or I'm not going to do that. And I would psych myself out and tell myself, God, I'm not going to go over there today. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. And just to show... just to show, as I've said that, I'm telling you, I would turn around and do the very thing that I said that I wasn't going to do, because I was trying to do it in my own strength, even though I thought I was giving it to God. So one of the things, wives, you want to begin doing is start telling God, Lord, I don't know how to do this. Help me to surrender to this. Lord, give me the strength to surrender to this. Lord, I don't want to be doing this in my own strength. I don't want to be doing this on my own. I want to release this over to you. And so I said, starve the flesh and feed the spirit. You can go on a fast. A fast is a good way of surrendering. A fast is starting doing a fast. If you do a fast one day out of the week, do a fast every day out of the week. That's a good place to start to surrendering. The second thing, when God speaks to you and tell you to do something, do it immediately. Don't pause. Don't wait. Don't second guess it. I never forget. This right here is when I knew, okay, something about this is so different. I will never forget being in the Kroger's, and I was, I think I was freshly separated, and the Lord had told me, he had just told me that your husband's coming back home. Your husband will be back home. And I was like, okay. And he said, I want you to go and tell everybody in Kroger's that your husband is coming back home. Your marriage is going to be restored. And I said to myself, there ain't no way, Jesus. There ain't no way I'm going to the Kroger's. Mind you, it was early. It was early morning. People minding their own business. In morning time, people real serious in the grocery store, okay? It was a weekday, so some people probably trying to get in and out. And the Lord said, I need you to go and tell everybody that you come in contact with that I am going to restore your marriage. And I thought that the Lord was crazy. And I remember being like, I don't want to do that, God. I really don't want to do that. And so he's like, go up to that person. And every person in the store that he got it and directed me to go, I went to them and said, good morning. Okay. Good morning. The Lord said he's going to restore my marriage. And some people was like, And then some people was like, oh, okay, that's good. Some people was like, girl, like, going on, it's too early for this. But then some people was really like, oh, praise Jesus, you know? And so I got a handful of different responses. But I remember the Lord speaking to me and telling me to do that. And that was something so off the wall and so different. But I was obedient. And I did what he asked me to do. So when I say that, I share that to say, if God tells you to do something, even if it seems strange, even if it seems like go completely against the grain, like, God, this is not normal. Like, I don't want to do that, God. Do it anyway. Do it anyways. Obedience is better than sacrifice. Obedience is better than sacrifice. And when you begin to do those things, God will start speaking to you more and giving you more instructions. Some of the wives say, well, I can't hear from God. Or God not telling me anything. Or I haven't getting anything. You ain't spending enough time with God, because God will speak. God will speak. And if you want to hear from God, pray and say, Lord, I want to hear from you. Lord, I need to feel your presence. Lord, I want to hear your voice. Lord, I want to be able to know what I'm supposed to do next. And this is another reason why it's so important for wives to spend that time with God, because God will speak. Okay. So you do it fast. You be obedient immediately. Be obedient immediately. And then thirdly, just do it. Just do it. And of course, you can't do it in your own strength. You have to pray and ask God, Lord, help me to surrender to your process. Lord, take this out of my hands. Lord, help me on this journey. Like, I don't want to keep on going in circles. I don't want to keep on going back and forth, because what happens is when wives are not surrendering over to God, sometimes God has to get aggressive and he have to tear down. He has to tear down what you built. He had to tear down what you built and redo it all over again. All right. So listen, I hope that has been an encouragement to you. I hope that has been an encouragement for you. If you need help, wife, on this journey, I want to encourage you to sign up for your wife consultation. If you have questions or concerns, or you're just like, Coach T, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what this means. I don't understand where I'm at. I want to encourage you, sign up for your consultation. www.marriagechroniclesbytanika.com. I'll talk to y'all soon. Blessings.